All right, start streaming. I think it's working. I have a really cool phone here. It went scuba diving. It went for a dive 43 feet deep. That is a lot of pressure. That is a lot of salt water. And it went scuba diving in the most beautiful place, Bonaire. I've never even heard of Bonaire, to be honest, until this phone, and I totally am going to go there on my next vacation. So let's jump in and see what is actually wrong. This is Genesis's phone, and she sent it in saying, hey, I really need you to recover all of my photos and videos from my amazing trip. So we're going to try to help her out. So this phone looks pretty bad. It has a lot of salt water damage, but that's like in just a couple of spots. Specifically, right here, this connector was actually on fire. Look at it. If we drill down right here, there was like charcoal that I had to like scrape off. So I desoldered that connector, and the first thing I thought was, please let this connector be for some sort of a camera or something that we don't actually need to get all of the photos and videos off. But it is in fact required. This is the place that we plug in that proximity sensor from the screen, and that in the 14 Pro is required to get it to stay on for more than 3 minutes. And Genesis has so many pictures on here that we're going to definitely need to stay on for more than 3 minutes. So we're going to have to find a way to put that back. And that's why I thought maybe this one would be good for a video. So I was able to solve enough problems already on this device that I've been able to see it to boot up. But what happens when the phone boots up, but it won't stay on for more than 3 minutes? And that is the case with this phone here. So let me go ahead and take out the logic board. I took out the screws already. And the first thing I'm going to do is just see whether or not putting it into a known good housing is enough to cure some of the problems. So let's do that first. I'm going to go ahead and just sacrifice the 5G antenna by cutting it. This is what I do on a phone that I know has so much damage that it's not going to be a phone again. And let me grab my known good housing. So I keep around the iPad Rehab 14 Pro. And I generally use known good housings these days for these modern iPhones rather than trying to keep in stock, you know, just a known good charge port and a known good battery and a known good dock, especially because the 14 series requires so much stuff in order to be able to clear these 3-minute reboots. All right, so let's plug this in. So this gives us a known good charge port, so I can plug that in. Maybe I can. And we're missing this sensor, so that's unfortunate. But it gives us a known good power flex that goes down to that wireless charging coil down here. That guy's actually required. There's a little microphone on that. It's just crazy what these phones actually need to be able to stay on. Now, it doesn't need any of this stuff. It doesn't need any of these cameras. We don't have to plug that stuff in. None of that matters. But what the 14 Pro needs, and I have this written down, I made a note. It needs to have a battery, so it can't just stay on with DC power. It needs to have a known good charge port that has a working pressure sensor. It also needs to have a known good wireless charging assembly and power button thing plugged in. So that means it needs to have its bottom board working. And it needs to have that screen flex, that proximity sensor flex. It needs all of those to be known good OEM working in order to be able to stay on long enough to get all of these photos and videos off of this phone. So major, major pain. Okay, let's see. What else do I need to plug in here? So I can't plug in this proximity sensor. So that's my biggest drag right now. I have one. Here's a beautiful one from my new screen, but it doesn't plug in because this thing caught on fire and it's gone. So I'm going to try and rebuild that. So let's go ahead and try to rebuild that. I guess we'll do that first. My original plan, my original thought was, let's see if plugging in everything else will make it boot up. and then generate a panic log that says, hey, proximity sensor is the only problem left. But then we have to sit here for 3 minutes, and I'd have to chat with you guys about, I don't know what. I do have a lot of things to chat with you about, so I'm going to go ahead and take this. I think I'm just going to go for doing the connector replacement. Is anyone here from France? That's what I really want to know. What is that on my screen? I'm here, says Briz, hello. And Edgar Yo Rapero, you're not really going to help me with my real question, which is about speaking French. So we found out that we're going to get an exchange student, which is, you know, pretty exciting. For a couple of weeks, we're getting an exchange student, and he comes from the city in France that I would call Rennes, but I think I would be wrong. So I would like to get some pronunciation tips. When I try to say Rennes, people tell me I'm trying too hard and I sound like an idiot. So I don't really know what to do. Also, I need some help. I need to know, what do I actually do with this exchange student, which I think is very, very brave of him to come to America, which sounds really fun. But he's going to be staying with me, and I have twin girls, Betsy and Maisie, age 15. My exchange student is a 16-year-old boy. So I think that is tough on him. And I like really admire him for being brave enough to come over and kind of, he's assigned to these girls. Let's go ahead and drill down on this. Edgar, have you had a chance to try this microscope? This is the Gorilla Qianli Gorilla 6558 scope. To be honest, I'm honestly not a fan right now. This thing is constantly giving me trouble. I had them send me a second one. They volunteered actually to send me a second one because this one that I'm using right now, the zoom like straight up didn't work, and you could just spin it and it wouldn't zoom at all. Bonjour! Oh, look at that! All right, what do is it acceptable for an American to say Rennes instead of Rennes? I don't think I can do it. It's just too hard, and then I feel like an idiot. Then I feel like it's, you know, I should try. I should try harder. I don't know what to do. It's just so hard. So my daughter Betsy will ultimately get to go over to do the other half of the exchange, which sounds really fun, to go spend 2 weeks and tour the Brittany region of France. That sounds super fun. So I would like to know, Microsoldering Avignon, what should I do with this kid? Like, what would a French kid like to do? Like, what should I feed this kid? What do you guys have for breakfast? Like, I don't really know how to take care of a French 16-year-old. So I need some help from you guys. I want to get one, but I've been waiting for someone to give us deets. Okay, don't get one. Actually, they've sent us the second one. This is the microscope, the Gorilla microscope. And the second one actually has the same exact problem where you can just spin the zoom and it goes click, 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 but it doesn't like engage the little gears inside there. This one we took apart and we were able to, you know, kind of push it in enough to engage, and it was, you know, it was okay. It somewhat works. All right, so I'm trying to rejuvenate these little pads. Now some of them are totally broken, and that's why I thought, hey, we should make a video. This connector must work in order for this device to stay on for longer than 3 minutes. Hold on, I'll call you back. I'm not sure what that means. So it's got to stay on for longer than 3 minutes in order for us to extract all these photos and videos, and it will not be able to do that without this connector. Now, I personally do not know of all of these many little connections that this connector makes. I don't know which ones are actually important here. All of them? One of them? I'm not really sure. Now, a couple of them are really chewed up, and we can try to fix them with some jumpers, but a couple of them we're just going to have to guess or maybe even straight up leave off. Now, with the iPhone 14 Pro, there's not a ton of information that's out there. If we look at ZXW, let's go ahead and look at ZXW together so that we can check it out. Oh my God, the students we've been teaching we're teaching 3 weeks in a row, and this camera, this microscope I bought because I thought it'd be so cool to be able to actually switch between thermal camera and microscope. It is such a pain, you know, you have to like unplug and disconnect and the buttons don't work and you turn it off and then it doesn't turn back on again unless you unplug it. Not ready for prime time. All right, let me see if I can find ZXW. Yay, there's ZXW. All right, so let's drill down on this connector and see what can we actually learn from ZXW. The side of the connector that's okay over here, we can click and we can just guess, like, what is this? This is a connector that is for the piece on the screen that we know is a proximity sensor and an ambient light sensor and not much else on the 14 Pro. In fact, we can look at one. So we're talking about this guy right here. This thing plugs in. It's not an ear speaker anymore, I don't think. Maybe it is. But it doesn't have that flood illuminator. It's not Face ID anymore. So what is this thing and why is it so important? Very irritating. There's not much going on here. So if we look at the connector, we can see, where does this go? Nothing is labeled anymore in ZXW. We don't have a matching schematic for 14 Pro in ZXW. Does one exist out there? I don't know. I haven't looked around. I did find one for the iPhone 15 Pro. I solved a couple of those and I was very thrilled to find the schematic for the 15 Pro. If you look at some of these competitors to ZXW, like XZZ and JCID, there's other guys that are solving the same problem. So ZXW is, in my opinion, no longer the king of board view software. This one doesn't really tell us very much. In fact, it even calls things that are definitely not capacitors, like these things over here. These are definitely filters or inductors, whatever you want to call them. They're not capacitors. They got a big C on here, so that's going to be really confusing. So what is our primary problem here? Right now, we can just see, even before we put a connector on, we can check out diode mode along this connector right here, and we can check to see which pads actually connect to the rest of the circuitry and which ones are just sitting there open because they caught on fire. So let's go ahead and do that in diode mode. So I am going to just do the trust-based iPad Rehab multimeter, and I'm going to tell you what it says. So if we look down here at the connector, down at the bottom, we're going to have to look back. So let's see. I don't think I have I wish I had a way to easily split screen that with you, but that might be too hard for me this late at night. All right. I'm curious what you guys in chat, what is your primary board view? DXW has been so easy to teach from. I love it, but I don't know. It's still okay, but it's sort of, you know, one tool. I'm curious, what are you guys using these days out in the wild? All right, let me go ahead and say, we're looking at this bottom row. It's apparently supposed to be 0.4, 0.4, 0.6, and what goes past that? 0.4, 0.4, 0.6, 0.3, 0.3, kind of going up that connector. So we'll keep that in mind. And then I'm going to make ZXW, can I just pull it over here? Kind of, that's a lot. All right, maybe I'll go away. All right, this, and maybe I can close that. Okay. And maybe I can turn this to match it. Hooray. Maybe I can clean it so that we can get a good view. And we'll see. All right. I was really surprised when XZZ had that entire 15 Pro schematic, and I was able to really read it, just like the old days, and really research the image circuitry that was in there. All right, here we go. Let's do a little bit of diode mode. So we can see that pin number 1 down at the bottom. We're going to go red probe on ground diode mode and check it out. Pin right here. Pin number 1 is open. So it's supposed to be 0.4 and it is open. That's bad. Pin 2, 0.4. That is correct. Pin 3, open. which is pretty obvious. That one definitely caught on fire. So pin 1 and pin 3 are a problem. Pin 4 is 352. It's supposed to be 657. All right, we'll let that slide. Number 4, isn't that right? 1, 2, 3. Oh no, that's supposed to be 0.3. Okay, that's a match. So this open one is supposed to be 0.6. That's a match. Right here, 0.352, 0.3. This one is gone, open, 0.6, and ground. Okay, so problem pins. We have a problem pin here on 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 3 different problem pins. Okay, so let's bring this back. How do I do this? All right, here we go. We'll get rid of ZXW. And now we're going to start trying to solve problems. Oh, that's a different ZXW. All right. I think we should get the new connector on first. And then we're going to have to kind of make some jumpers to figure out how to knit back together those problem pads. Now, a couple of them we'll be able to fix because we can just really look at this problem here and see very close. Even though this guy is open right now, we can kind of read the board and see that it clearly goes to a missing component. And right there, that's going to be the circuit that it needs to connect to. So we'll be able to just make a simple jumper and heal that one. This one I'm really worried about. This piece of metal goes nowhere. And the board is chewed up and on fire right there. Look at that. Can you guys see that? That is... There's not much to work with right there. So that one, we might have to go on an overland jumper to find it somewhere else on the board. And I looked it up a little bit. I think we'll have a plan. The rest of these are beat up, but kind of okay, except for this one. So this one is a mystery. We'll have to look it up. But for now, I think we're ready to go ahead and just give it a shot. How do we get a connector? First, where? Where am I going to get a connector from? So I only have one shot at this. And I hope I don't end this stream early out of shame and embarrassment because I couldn't do it. I got one donor board here. This is it. This is the only iPhone 14 Pro in the house. And it's from some prior job. This still has the missing connector. So my hope is that I can desolder it without melting it right in front of you guys live. Get it off. And get it onto the other board without making it curl into a little dead caterpillar right in front of you guys. So let's find out. All right, let's see what you guys are using in chat. JC Drawing has become my go-to. JC Drawing. If Drawing, very good. I don't know what that means. XZZ, ZXW Bad, and Love Her. I don't know what Love Her is. Okay. All right, native French speaker from Canada, the way you pronounce "ren" was as good as it could get. Oh, good. Yay! Well, I feel like an idiot for sure, so I don't know about that. Okay, I don't know how you guys do that. Like that's just pretty crazy. All right, so step 1 is we've got to harvest. Let's go ahead and see if we are out of business like ASAP by attempting to harvest this connector. So we're going to harvest this connector live right in front of you guys. And man, it would be really embarrassing if I mess this up. So hopefully that doesn't happen. All right, so I'm going to go for that. Let's see. Let's pick a nice non-burn-upable temperature. All right. I'm going to stick this at, as you'll be shocked to hear that I'm putting it at 380. But that is what I'm doing, so let's see. All right. I haven't looked at JC ID. I know a lot of guys like JC stuff. It's kind of the JC universe. All right, I gotta focus on this. And I really don't want to burn this guy up for you guys. This is my only connector that I have. And I really, really want to get these pictures off. Her trip just sounds amazing. So my daughter, I gave her a task with the last time I did a live stream, which was, Betsy, why don't you take the live stream video, which is long. I mean, it's kind of fun if you're watching it live because you really don't know, like, am I going to burn up this connector or not? Oh, thank God. Hallelujah. Praise be. But after the live stream ends, like these videos are kind of boring, right? Because you can just like skip to the end and be like, did it fix it or not? I'm not sure that I would want to sit here and watch like a post live stream after the fact. That might be too boring for me. So I told Betsy, like, why don't you just kind of like go get like the good parts, you know, and just make another video that's sort of like live stream recap. So she did that on my last live stream where I burned that short out of the board. And she gave it to me this morning, and I've been teaching all day, so I haven't had a chance to look at it, but I wonder what you guys would think. I didn't realize this was a live video. Oh yes, this is very live. This is live, and I could well just now have burnt up that connector when I took it off the board, but it didn't happen. So I got away with that one. All right, now let's see if we can install this bad boy over here. This needs a little bit more flux. And then the hard part is going to be making little tiny, super, super tiny baby jumpers. What I really wish that I had right now was a grain of rice. If I had a grain of rice, I would put it right here and just show you just like how super tiny this is. We're going to end up having to make jumpers to connect together all of these missing spots and open pads. Let's see. Definitely not boring. That's how I learn. Well, that's awesome. That's really good to hear. It's funny. I've been sitting in this chair all day teaching a group of. We have this week a group of 4 students that are all some federal and then state level forensic investigators. It's really fun. I know I get a lot of flack on the whole like, you know, you're helping law enforcement, but a lot of these cases, if you guys got to see what is going on these cases, a lot of this stuff is just, it makes you feel really good to be able to help out on domestic violence. A lot of these, last week we had a really serious crimes against children case, and I don't know that I've ever felt more worthwhile than working on these things, really. I mean, it really, as a mom, really feels like even better than being able to call up Genesis from her trip to Bonaire and say, hey, we got your scuba pictures. It feels really good to be able to, you know, provide some help on evidence that's really important for something that's like really, really bad, like these cases. Okay, so now let's take a look on an angle, because straight looks great, but the angle doesn't lie to you. Let's see, you're truly one of the most skilled people that I know in this field. Well, gee, Mark, you're making me blush, that's for sure. All right, let's see. Oh, that is very hot, I'll tell you that. And let's see if I can hold it up enough to look on the angle. So I always like to just look on an angle. And this microscope is actually pretty good at getting really close to things. So I can see just with my eyes that this connector right now, it's okay, but it needs a little bit of a touch up before I'm even willing to measure it right there. Okay, that is a net positive to society. It is, let's see. All right. Okay, and what we've been seeing lately, just in the field of digital forensics as well as in civilian data recovery, lately I've been seeing a lot of shield removal damage, and that can come in all flavors. So we've seen cases recently where people have heated up the shields to take off these, you know, soldered on shields, and that has ended up boiling the CPU. So that's, you know, pretty bad. But we've also seen, I think in the last month, 3 different cases where these would have been pretty straightforward repairs, except for somebody, you know, was kind of like using just what we call the pry and pray method, which is what I do for these shields. And they ended up like kind of really being aggressive and either gouging the board and digging up a lot of traces, or another guy just, you know, kind of rolled it off and pulled up, you know, cracked a couple of chips. This one right here that somebody brought to me for the course, I think was one of those Samsungs that kind of was probably originally just like a pressure case where it needed a little pressure on the CPU, and now
they took off all of these shields, so you can't even put pressure on the CPU. And it's like, you know, who knows what's wrong with it now. It's just kind of a lot of rough cases we've seen lately. Okay, I think I'm happy with that side of the connector, but it's all burned up, so we'll have to clean it up in order for you guys to be able to see what's going on. And now I'm going to do the same thing over here on the side of the connector that is rough. This side is really going to be a challenge. So a couple of the pads are okay. Maybe this one. So I was kind of curious if this project was going to like just kind of tell us at least which one is truly necessary, like what actually goes up to the proximity sensor that the device is actually caring about for this 3-minute reboot. So I don't know that. Maybe one of you guys knows which of these connectors, which pads are actually important for that. All right, I just nudged a little dude here that I will try to put back. Okay. Anybody know? We'll find out. Let's go ahead and brush this off. We're going to clean this off. And now we're going to have the actual work on this project, which is how do we connect back together the burned off the board pads, and especially which ones do we actually need. I'm going to guess that the ones that caught on fire are power for something. And I'm going to guess that if a signaling, you know, sensor signaling kind of works like, hey, I got to get a thumbs up from this sensor. It's got to tell me something. The CPU has to hear from it. That you probably need both the data lines that go out to that sensor, but you probably also need power for it. So I'm going to guess, that you probably need like a lot of these, but I'm kind of curious. I'm curious, should we actually fire this up with a proximity sensor flex in it and see whether or not it boots up? I'm guessing, I think a lot of people thought you left YouTube. Oh, it is a little bit different for YouTube. There's a lot more privacy when we're working on, you know, digital forensic evidence. You know, we have a lot more like NDAs that we have to respect. We've done some like really cool stuff that I wish I could talk about, but we're not allowed to. So there is that. But really, I've just been busy. You will notice that since my family of 4 kids, 2, that's 50% of my kids have gone off to college now. So that was really hard. I think all moms in the month of like late August, September, you can tell moms that are saying goodbye to their kids. It's such a change in your family dynamic when your you know, kid goes off to college. So we took Sam to University of Rochester, and he was the one that really was all gung-ho trying to apply to West Point, if you've heard me talk about that. And he was not able to get into West Point through no fault of his own. He was medically declined, and that was a really tough one for him. But he has rallied, and now he is very gung-ho to go pre-med for University of Rochester. And then my other son, Bailey, is already there doing optics engineering, and he's doing well. So now I've only got half the number of kids, so that's plenty of time to do stuff, maybe, like YouTube. The other thing that I spend a lot of time on is Odyssey of the Mind, which is a phenomenal program. And our girls team won, if you haven't heard, 2nd place in the world at the World Finals last year in Michigan last May. Hearing them get called out for 2nd place and getting to run down in the huge stadium, that was a highlight, probably the best moment in the last 10 years. So that was really, really awesome. Okay. David Stark, I can't wait. I'm going to be going to a 2026 class. Well, class week is always fun. We are going to renovate our courses a little bit. So we've noticed that it's tough when we have a class where there are people that have never touched a soldering iron mixed in with people that are like, yeah, I know how to do my basic like main shorts, and I know how to disassemble for sure. Ports and connectors are fine, but they just don't really know much. They want to learn more about like layers or reballing layers or diagnosis of hard stuff. So to try to separate those two audiences, I am creating for 2026 a separate sort of like beginner ports and connectors course. So if you've never touched a soldering iron and you really want to just be able to say, hey, I want to be able to do ports and connectors, then we're going to do like a little 3-day. That stuff is very, very trainable very quickly. You'd be surprised. With a little bit of tips and experience, you can pick that right up. Anybody can. And we'll show you how to get out of trouble if you have one that has a bunch of missing pads. Kind of like this job right here. All right, let's see. Let's get some jumpers going. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with my connector overall, so I'm going to look at it. And now let's deal pin by pin. So we're going to go with pin number 1 that we know for sure is going to be open because the pad was open. It doesn't go anywhere. So let's check on that. So I'm going to get my multimeter out. And here's my multimeter. And I'm going to go red probe on ground right here. Let me just check which one goes to that. Got to actually look. Yeah, okay. It's this one right here. So we'll do a little red probe on ground. And this one right here is currently open. So that's not a surprise, but it's supposed to be 0.4. So let's look at ZXW and try to figure out how can we heal this problem. So let's check ZXW and ZXW for you guys. Okay, and we're gonna pull it over here. All right, so what we're looking at is that pin 1, that first pin. So I'm gonna click it and I'm gonna make it embiggened so that you guys can follow along. All right, so where does it actually go? So this is why I wanted to do this stream, so that we can see, like in ZXW, what does this mean? I think there's a little labeling problem right here. So let's kind of get big on this. So we can see it says C7140 and it says C7148. One of them is a capacitor C7148. But that second one, C7140, even though it's not labeled and it doesn't have any information, it doesn't make sense that that would be a capacitor. And as we kind of look up the whole row, they're calling everything C. Now we know that these connectors will have some capacitors for filtering noise on the line, but they have other just straight up inductor filters that are probably what's going on at C7140. So let's click the other side. The other side of C7140 goes somewhere. Surely it goes somewhere. All right, it goes over here to U7800. So we can go ahead and use our multimeter to find out what is the diode mode reading right there on kind of the far side of C7140. And if the diode mode reading is 0.433, like it's supposed to be here in pin 1, then what we're going to do is simply make a wire to connect that. We're going to assume that capacitor is wrong and that this is meant to be a filter, and that just putting a wire here to connect those will bring 0.433 up to the connector. So let's see if that makes sense. Let's see if that checks out. So we're going to grab our multimeter and we're going to zoom in and we're going to just check. So this area was burnt up, but we're going to check. Right here is ground. Oh, wake up the multimeter. That's freaked me out for a second. It didn't say anything. Ground. And then this is 0.425. And now right here is OL open. So what we're going to do is just make a wire from A to B, and that will probably bring that circuit and close it and bring it all the way up to that connector. So that's what we're going to try to do.
So I was just talking with Brad. We have all of this, you know, quote unquote flying line. That is one of my favorite China interpretations of this thing. I love some of these, the way things are, that they translate things in China. I think my all-time favorite is the little tiny thing that you can put on an iPhone layer board that is a little spacer so that you could press the top board on top of it without squeezing the solder balls together. Do you guys know what those are called? If you don't know, they're called explosion-proof discs. Yes, explosion-proof discs. All right, let's check out this new, quote, flying line. It might be too thin. Where's the end of it? I have not tried this before. This is my first time. This was just kind of like in an unopened package that's been on my desk for a really long time. Oh, I don't know. That looks too thin. All right, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna go back to my old standby. Whenever I need a small jumper, this is my go-to right here. Good old copper wick, and I'm just gonna grab a piece out of it. I mean, this stuff is like so like tiny. Here, buddy. Here, you want to come home, don't you? Let's grab you, buddy. All right, I need a pair of tweezers that's not jacked up. Oh, these are even worse than the ones that I had. Okay, I got a piece. Hooray! All right, now we're gonna stick it kind of over there somewhere in the neighborhood. Let's zoom so we can actually watch this happen. That I think is the thing that this microscope kind of does have going for it. I think in the past, if I were to zoom this close, it would be too difficult for you guys to really see. But this we can, like, pretty close, way too close almost. All right, let's make some puffy pillows and get cracking on here. I'm gonna make some puffy pillows, and then I'm gonna lay this right down on here. All right, could you show the multimeter on screen? I wish that I had the energy to do that. I could, I don't know, maybe I could. That's kind of a good idea. I do have I do have sympathy. Oh no, that guy, where are you going? Let's put you back. I do have sympathy for, you know, people that might be watching this that speak another language. I'm gonna leave that guy right there for a second because it is, you know, hard to follow. All right, let's get rid of that. And let's get a little bit more context. This guy is gonna go, all right, get off of that, get off of that, lay down, lay down. I think I'm actually gonna use hot air to make him go home. Let's see. Ah. Watching you and BNC way back. BNC. Oh yeah, I remember. That's what Chris, right? Called his channel BNC Connections or something like that. All right, lay down, buddy. Lay down. You're gonna make it hard for everybody to see. Lay down. No, stop that. Stop acting like one of my kids. Okay. He's an ornery little bro, isn't he? All right, let's get this thing on without touching him because he is cranky. Oh no, I lost my little braid piece. I gotta go get another one. Let's see. We have all these French people today. Hello from France. Yes, hello from soon-to-be host mom to French 16-year-old. Tell me right now, what do you think a 16-year-old boy that grew up in Rennes, France, wants to eat for breakfast? He said
I don't think he got my joke. I did send him an email that said, so, you know, like what to expect, you know, we're gonna, you know, watch a Bills game, et cetera, et cetera. And then I told him we'll start every morning with a breakfast of spinach and artichokes, because he said he didn't like vegetables, but I don't know if that joke was kind of lost in translation. Je suis originaire d'Algérie. Does that mean you're from Algeria, I guess? All right, so we got this jumper on here. And these tweezers are pretty jacked. I love my green tweezers. Oh my gosh, we have our iPad Rehab custom tweezers. We're getting a new order of those from Dumont in Switzerland. And the shipping of 4 pounds of tweezers is $549. Can you believe that? I think that we have to shop around a little bit. That is completely unacceptable. How much do you think it would cost to ship 4 pounds of the iPad Rehab custom tweezers? Certainly not $549, right? Bacon and eggs. Bacon and eggs at I don't know if I can get up early enough for that. I don't know if I can do it. All right, survey says, oh wait, here we go. Oh, I don't know if I can do an on-screen multimeter. Let's try it. This would be my only chance. Okay, could this possibly work in any way? This is going to be real tough. All of this is like, okay, here we go. All right, I have no ability to see what it says, so you guys will have to just tell me. Does it say 0.43? Let's find out. Red probe on ground. And nope. What does it say here? I don't hear anything. Did it turn off? All right, I'm gonna have to put it down here so I can see what's going on. I don't hear anything. Okay, here we go. Red probe on ground. All right, 0.396. All right, let's show you guys. Ready? This is so ridiculous. I have no clue if you can even see that at all. It is almost worth it to, like, I have right in there the on-screen multimeter. All right, now, what does it say? Can you see that? Anybody zoom in? Does it say 0.43 or something close to that? I heard a beep. That's going to be it. It was OL. Now I hear a beep. I'm going to guess that that says 0.43. Okay, that one is done. All right, so now let's go up to the next one that is definitely a problem. That one's good. This second one, is that a problem? Let's find out. Let's go to ZXW and check. I don't remember. ZXW. Yeah, second one is, first one, 0.443. We're going to say check. Second one, 0.443. Let's see, where does it go? Second one, 0.443. It's the same deal where it goes to this capacitor, C7141. That's the one that I just knocked off and put back. And it's definitely not a capacitor. I looked at it with my eyes. It's a filter. So let's check right here and make sure that we have the same diode mode going up to pin 3 in the connector. All right, so let's check that out. We got to make this become 0.433. All right, so let's see what is going on here. I really like being able to see chat when I bring that back out. All right. Are you still using Hako for soldering iron? Oh, yes. Personally, I will never stop. You will never pull out my lovely blue and yellow mini hot tweezers from my cold, dead hand. With that said, Hako has stopped selling that, which I find highly irritating. Oh yeah, this guy's not on there at all. You know what? Screw that guy. I'm going to put a wire there too. I just don't like guys that don't behave. There's something up with him. So Hako has stopped making my beloved mini hot tweezers, so that sucks. And instead, I'm going to have to, I don't know, I don't like the new Hako thing at all. Right now, we're selling JBC, but I think for repair people, we're going to find this out at the next course, which is next week. There's a repair course. So we're going to have 9 people in here for repair course next week. And we're going to sit them down and have them really tell us if they think that the China JBC with the authentic JBC tips, that's sort of like the hope, whether or not that is going to be something that works for them. All right, let's see if I can put this on without bothering the guy that's already there. I'm going to take this screw bracket off. This guy's just in my way. He's not doing anybody any favors. So I need, in order to take off that big giant screw bracket, I need to have like a big blob of solder on there. My wife got me the Fantic station. I don't know what that is. Fantic. Sounds like it's from Temu, is it? I don't know. That sounds pretty funny. I need also to hear recommendations. Now is the exact right time of year for buying dog Halloween costumes. So June the Pug, I saw a Halloween costume that makes the dog look like they're a grandma. That looked pretty funny. But I need some good ideas for Halloween. This is actually really getting hot on my fingers. Come on off, bro. What is your deal? All right, I gotta get on the other side a little bit more. Get over here, make a big blob. So to take off a guy like this easily, you really need to get a big blob of solder so that the solder itself kind of like becomes the iron. You're increasing that thermal linkage on that thing. This one might not be quite ready to do it. All right, I think with this screw bracket gone, it will just be a lot easier to get in there. Well, let's give that another try. All right. I have the Finrizzi one, corded, but awesome. Is it a soldering station or a dog Halloween costume? I can't tell. All right, come on, buddy. This one's quite taking up a lot of heat. What's your deal? There we go. Oh no, it took my jumper. You piece of shit. God damn it. All right, that's okay. It'll be a lot easier to do these. I think since this jumper came off at the bottom, I'm gonna start up here at the missing one especially since I'm left-handed and kind of go down the row that way. All right, so we'll start with this little piece. I'm gonna start up at the top and see what do we need to rebuild. It's a soldering iron, no station. Oh, what did you guys think? Did anyone try the iFixit Fix Hub? We had one, they sent us one, but it broke, it didn't ever turn on, and then Kyle said something like, oh yeah, there's something that goes bad on it. And I never really had the motivation to like fix that. So I don't know what's up with that. All right, I'm gonna change my mind again, and I'm gonna just put these jumpers back because it's sitting right here in front of me. And I might put a little UV mask on them. All right, jumper number 1, or jumper number 2. Yeah, that pad does not like to take solder, but it will. All right, that one's done. Let's make this. I did at the expo, it sucked. Are they still selling it with lead-free solder? Because they came here, and that was my big feedback for them was, you know, guys, don't try to use lead-free solder. That's ridiculous. And they were just like, well, I think that they kind of had this sort of feeling that like you kind of, in order to like maintain credibility like with the manufacturers, they couldn't say we're using leaded solder, which I don't know, man. You're like iFixit. You're a very pro DIY. Like I don't see why you can't do what you know makes the best plan for DIY soldering. I was really excited to use that iFixit Fix Hub on a project that I have under my bed for years. I actually kind of saved this project for probably a full solid year because I wanted to use a wireless soldering iron to go under there. And in the end, it was like, this thing's broken. It's not going to work. I'm not going to do it. And I ended up sending Maisie under there with a plug-in soldering iron. Okay. So here you guys go on the the JESA multimeter, the on-screen multimeter. The on-screen multimeter, and we're gonna zoom right in. And now we've got 2 jumpers on there, nice and easy. One is 0.4, hopefully. And the next one is 0.4, hopefully. I can't really see it. And then that leads us to number 3. All right, so number 4 is okay. Number 5 is open. Number 6 is okay. Number 7 is open. Number 8, I don't know whether or not some of them are meant to be open. All right, we're working on number 3. This is the hard one. Okay, so number 3. 1, 2, 3. The one that goes to the serious burn spot. So let me clear this off so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, this was like charred up, caught on fire on the actual like fire on the board. Huge crud and everything. When I took off this connector, it was filled with like the water of Bonaire. All right, so this little toe of the connector goes absolutely nowhere. So we're gonna have to bring a jumper all the way and touch, not out here, but actually the toe of the jumper, or else it's not gonna help us. And it needs to go to, I don't know, so number 3. Let's go on a hunt. We don't have anything there that we can actually like solder to. All right, let's see. Oh, good. 0.414 and 0.415. Close enough to 0.43. All right, let's go on hunt. We're going to go on ZXW and we're going to find out what can we do about number 3. And by number 3, I mean number 5, the third one up. It's supposed to be 0.657, but where does it go? So this says NC, meaning it was probably a no stuff. 2 pads. Both of them are completely caught on fire and burned out of the board. The capacitor I don't know if it's there or not, but I definitely know that this pin 5, whatever it is just sitting there. There's no pad under it and there's no trace. There's nothing to connect to. So we got to go on a hunt and say, where does this go to in the board? So let's look. If we look around here, I don't see anything. So this is kind of like, this is like a bit of a dead end. I don't see anything. Let's flip the board and somebody's here. Is it Christy? Is it Christy? No. Yes, it is. Show yourself. Bona. It's definitely Christy. Everybody, Christy's here. Oh my God. Guess what, Christy? I'm doing a live stream. All right, this goes to the PMU. Boo. So this is tough, right? This is a circuit that appears to originate in the PMU. It goes out of the PMU. It goes to capacitor, real capacitor C5581. It goes to a not connected. This is a no stuff. That's a no stuff, so it doesn't go there. So this is some circuit out of the PMU that goes to a capacitor, and then after that, it flips over the board, and it goes to our spot. So we really are not going to separate the layers, take the underfilled PMU off, or that nearby capacitor, put a jumper there, bring it sort of across the board, reball it, resolder the layers just to have the end of that jumper go out to this connector. That's not a really good solution. I really don't want to do that. So if we look closely, we can see that it goes one more place. So if we look closely, we can see, all right, it does come out of the PMU and it goes to the capacitor, but then it goes here. So since our connector's on the top board and the PMU is on the other side of the top board, why is this circuit going to a connection to the bottom board at all? That doesn't make any sense. There's no chips on the bottom board that this circuit is connecting to. So why wouldn't it just go PMU, flip over, right on the top board? It's going to the bottom board, but where? So let's look. Is there anything on the bottom board that it's connecting to? No. Nothing. So let's flip the bottom board.
And when we flip the bottom board, we can see that our circuit goes out here to something called J for connector, the debug connector, debug connector. The debug connector for E, meaning RF circuitry. What the heck, man? So this circuit from the PMU goes to two places, up to our connector and down to the debug connector. So I really don't know if we actually really even need this circuit in order to pass our 3-minute reboot. But I'm going to assume that we do to try to get our data. And then if later, I'd really love to disconnect it so that we could say, no, we don't need that in the future. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to find the J debug connector. We're going to find that pad, which is going to be under some paint. It's hidden. We're going to put a jumper on it. We're going to bring it all the way back around, a great big long jumper, and we're going to touch it to the little exposed toe of our connector. And that's what we're going to do to heal that one. That's going to be a lot. All right, let's see if we can do it. So let's get rid of ZXW and let's go on a hunt for that guy and see what we can make out of this. All right, it says not connected, but there could be something soldered on. Anything is possible. Okay, yeah, there's nothing connected there. All right, so what are we trying to do? We're trying to heal number 3, which currently goes absolutely nowhere right now. I'm pretty sure it goes nowhere. Yeah, let's just sort of check the nowheredness. So because it does, let's see, let's just check. We'll just say if it goes to a chip, we should get some kind of a beep. That's ground. And this right here, when I touch this, I get OL, meaning it doesn't actually go back to the PMU like it says it's supposed to. It's burned off. And it's really, really burned down here. So that is just a floating piece of copper. It's not connected to anything this way. It's not connected to anything that way. It's just sitting there. All right, ZXW, not good tool for this main board. ZXW lying. Yeah, I see. All right, let's flip it over. Oh no, we got to go on a deep hunt. Where is our mysterious debug connector? We got to find it under here. Aha! I see it! Debug connector. This is the debug connector. Can you believe that? Let's go ahead and get rid of this 5G antenna just for good housekeeping, I guess. I'm not really sure. I really want to hear more from you French people about what to make this kid for breakfast. I think it's really tough. Christy, did you hear that we're getting a French exchange student?
No.
Yes. So we really need you to come translate. All right, Christy, are you ready to say a word on my live stream? I think you are.
I think I just said no.
No, I think that is totally wrong. All right, help me pronounce Ren. Do it. Come on, Christy, you can do it.
Is this his name?
No, it's the city where he's from. It's our sister city. It's the Rochester sister city.
It's a sister city?
Yeah, apparently.
Okay, I can
You
come
can.
around here safely and
Yeah, totally safely. Look, nobody can even tell. There's Christy, everybody. She's right there. All right, what is it?
where?
Huh?
Where?
You can't see. I'm right here. You're over there. Here, walk back there.
No, where? What am I trying to pronounce?
Okay, you're trying to pronounce Rennes.
I think it's just Ren.
Are you sure it's not Ren?
That would
That's
be
what the
Dutch
French
one.
teacher said. And now I feel like an idiot because I don't know what to say. Feel bad. Can't even say like, how's the weather in Rennes? Oh, all right. Christy, oh, your voice sounds so charming. Yes, Christy's very charming. Everybody knows. Okay, let's dig up this guy. Oh, you can't see that. All right, let's dig up. All right, so we're going to spin this around and we're going to go for that second one. Okay, and that second one, and it says it's supposed to be 0.852. All right, 852. All right, we'll close that down and we got to go on a hunt.
for this guy. Okay, so drilling in, can you believe this? Debug connector. All right, let's go into hidden debug connector. Now scraping is raping, so never do this, right? You can only do this if nobody's looking. All right, so there's our spot. And now we're going to check to see the secret hidden debug connector. We're going to make a jumper to the secret hidden debug connector. All right, 0.606. We'll have to say that's close enough. That's as close as we can get. I do want to make sure that I'm on the right orientation. So I'm going to look back and make sure that my spot is close to the 5G antenna connector. So I'm going to make sure of that orientation. So let me just look back, and it is. So that is correct. Okay, so all right, we're putting a wire on here. So let's make puppy pillow, and now we need a long, kind of a long wire. Christy, I'm going to make a video, an iPad video on that, on the iPad screen. Not today though. Have you guys been seeing iPad 7, 8, 9, where the LCD just stops working for no reason? Are you guys seeing this? I think it is a new flex gate of sorts that I think is repairable if you're so inclined to fix a $70 LCD. All right, let's make sure I can't see anything now. All right, let's get this on here, and let's get this on here. Okay. We are going to solder this wire to right here. All right, and those tweezers, I really do kind of need my new order of my iPad Rehab tweezers. These ones are kind of getting beat up. Many years of loyal use. All right, close enough. I think it's actually worth it for me to tweezer stone them right now. Here we go. Okay, do you guys know this thing? Tweezer stone, so great. This is gonna make them be able to like grab that jumper wire and just really hang on to it. All right, how are we doing here? Let's fix that up a little bit. All right, let's get that out of here. All right, let's move that a little bit up. Perfect. Ah, good tweezers are heavenly, that is for sure. This tweezer stone is still one of my absolute favorite all-time iPad Rehab supply products. Shout out to the tweezer stone. All right, here comes this jumper. We're gonna have to make it go way over here, all the way from the other side of the board. I think I'm gonna actually sharpen up a second pair. Since you made the iPhone 5, I've been watching your videos. How long have you been doing this? I've been doing this for 10 years. We started our first class in July of 2015. And in July of 2025, we have been teaching people for 10 years. We made a big poster. It was really cool. I actually sat down and I made a big photo collage. It's over there in the front of every class picture that we've taken for the last 10 years. Super, super fun. I mean, it's kind of a lot of people when you put it all together. And I miss all of you guys that have come before. It's just like a fun 5-day summer camp to hang out with us. And I would really love for you guys to come back because, things are always changing. And, we're always teaching these things based on what's in front of us, which is, who knows? It's different all the time. Okay, let's get the other end of this jumper. I have some vague awareness of some internet douchebag that I really don't know that was like, oh, everybody quit repairing, which is, most definitely not true over here. But I don't really pay attention to that stuff. That guy's a douche, I know that. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, so maybe that is on there enough. Let's check. Multimeter. which I'm guessing will be like 0.6. 0.619. Although I'm not going to show you guys until I kind of take the end of it off, because it's kind of it's very thin and it might rip off while I'm doing that, and then I have to do it again. I think it's still on there. So let's zoom in so you guys can see what's going on. So I've made a jumper from the hidden magical debug connector on the bottom of the board and brought it all the way around to connect here in the third position. Now I'll show you the on-screen multimeter. Maybe, if I can balance it. This is really hard. This is way harder than making the jumper. Okay, I don't think you can see anything. It looks just like it's white up here, but we'll find out. Number 3. I heard a beep, so that means it must be a number. I don't know if you guys can see that at all. It doesn't seem like you would be able to. Let's try it again, because now I'm invested. Now we gotta like prove it. All right, now it's like the opposite problem. It's a shadow. Ah, all right, here we go. The on-screen multimeter in pin 3. Can you see it? Can you see anything? We'll see. All right, this is a 14 Pro. All right, so that one is done. So now we are good on, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, open. So number 7, open, and those two. So let's go look up at those two. So we've got some kind of a number for each one of these. Companies are making it challenging to perform repairs. Yeah, they are. With stolen device protection, really sucks. I've been turned into a salesperson for iCloud, which I absolutely, absolutely hate. In fact, it's worth it to me to airdrop somebody's data completely off the board rather than say, hey, why don't we just do an iCloud backup for you? Because I want them to be able to get a divorce from Apple. All right, let's put back up ZXW for you guys to see our last couple of dudes on here. All right, so we are done with the debug connector, and we are done with that one. So we are good all the way up to these last two. All right, so this one goes to something that looks like it should probably be okay, which means if it's not, our problem just is the connector foot. And then this one, 0.285, which looking at the board, though that area looks okay. So I'm gonna say, all right, if it looks okay, it is okay. And that means if the connector is reading open, then the connector's not just, it's just not touching the foot. It's not touching the pad. Yep, open, open. All right, so then we gotta say, all right, what happened to you, buddy? Oh yeah, one of them is gone. One of them has no pad at all. And the other one needs a little touch up. All right, let's do a little touch up on the 1 foot. So let's try to do that without knocking off these jumpers. All right, so this one right here just needs a little bit of a little tickle. All right, let's see if that is enough. There's a lot of tight clearance in there. All right, are you good? He says, no, I'm not. All right, those two guys are definitely open. All right, one is completely missing, and that is pretty oxidized in there. I can see it up close. Let's try even harder. Let's get really close. Let's get so close. And calm this down and really try to get this very oxidized pad to just bond. So when you get water damage on the pads, they get really, really oxidized. All right, that probably should do it. Let's find out. Multimeter, what do you say here? It really doesn't like that. All right, then we got to go investigate. Yeah, it doesn't like that. All right, we'll try it again. It is so oxidized that you can kind of put these two things together, but that little bit of oxide makes it really difficult for it to actually touch that and make a bond. Right, maybe that feels like it's normal. We'll find out. Only the multimeter can tell us what's up. And the multimeter says nothing is up, man. All right, I'm going to kind of thin out this old flux. There's too much on there so that we can really see why you don't like that. There's nothing there for it to grab. All right, let's clean that off a little bit more. Dare I use this toothbrush near to this thing? All right, let's see. I'm going to use my multimeter right on the actual pad because it looks like it should be bonded. So I'm going to just see, does the pad not really go anywhere? Okay. Maybe I wasn't getting a reading because of flux. Yeah, that seems to be making a reading now. Oh, you guys can't see that. All right, let me do one more little sizzle on it just to have a little bit of fresh flux in there and just be really sure that we have any kind of chance of getting that on there. Yeah, it's really just oxidized. All right, let's see. Multimeter, will you give us the right number without a ton of pressure? Yes, 0.6. Okay, one left. So the one that is left is this one, which is currently open. It is the second one here from the top. This guy, number 2. So let's look up and see, where does it go? It is completely missing the pad, so we'll have to make like the world's tiniest jumper to fix that. So let's bring back ZXW and let's see, what would it take to fix this last one? Hey, that's the one that's lit up. We got to get 0.285 here in the connector. Currently it's open, and where is it supposed to go? It's supposed to go to this capacitor, and then this thing says NC. So this is, where else does it go? NC means those are just sitting right there. It doesn't do anything. But where else does this circuit go? Oh, it kind of goes nearby. This is underneath a soldered on shield. NC means this is a no stuff. There's a little capacitor there. Where else does that circuit go? Okay, that circuit also goes over here to one of the charge ICs. This guy, which is a USB guy, this goes to a RF chip. It goes over here. All right. Okay, so this is some kind of probably power for a bunch of different guys. Yeah, okay. We're not going to skip it. I was tempted to say, we've done all of these. Surely, it doesn't need every one of them. Let's just skip this hard one, but let's not. Okay, so let's go check to see, do we actually have our 0.285 nearby at the NC pad or at the capacitor? So let's find out. So let's get rid of this. I am pretty much, oh God, it is very late. I need to wrap this right on up. This is taking forever. Okay, so let's see. We have 0.3 right there, and let's check here. Is 0.3 capacitor. Yeah, okay, 0.3. So we need to just connect that to right here. All right, that is so tiny. Oh my God, that is going to be really, really tiny. I think that for really small stuff, this wire actually works. You know what? This one, I think I'm going to use like silver jumper wire. That'll be easier. Silver jumper wire and some super sharp tweezers is the ticket, I think. All right, well, this is really getting messy. And it's getting late. All right, let's see. But I miss doing live streams. I kind of want to do them like sort of just, you know, whenever. I'm really curious whether or not it's going to make sense to just do a live stream and then have Betsy edit the live stream recap. All right, rip off. Come on, man. Okay. All right, here is a very tiny wire. Let's make it so that you guys can see. Let's drill in. All right, so where is this going? The third one, right? Which tweezer did I fix? Not you. I feel like I have like 3 or 4 tweezers. One of them is like good, and I don't know which one it is. It's not that one. Okay, so we're going to, I think that's second one. Yeah. All right, this guy here. All right, I gotta be able to grab it closer. All right, and then over here. God damn it. Oh yeah, he can just go right here, right? Oh, I can't see it anymore. If I can't see it, that's no good. That is very tiny. All right, that might be enough. Whew, that is very, very tiny. This is so tiny. I wish I had a grain of pepper that I could put on here so that you guys could see that. Oh no, I soldered it to the wrong side. I must have soldered it to the, is that side ground? It's ground now. That's bad. Let me check. Oh, it must be touching some kind of ground. All right, must be on the wrong bro. Yeah, not you. Are you supposed to go on here? I don't remember. I feel like I gotta check. Not the first guy, so the second guy. Okay. Yeah, second guy right there. Get on there. Yeah, all right, now let's check. This is so tiny. It's super tiny. All right. Ethereal wire. Yeah, that's exactly this is an ethereal jumper. Yeah, woo! 0.298. Here, baby, check it out. We're gonna stick this. This is tiny. This is like fairy wing tiny. All right, here we go. On-screen multimeter. Don't fall down, multimeter. I dare you. All right, that's my first guy. I have no idea. You'll have to just tell me if any of these are wrong. That's the guy I just did. Something, 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 something. Boom. All right. Everybody in that row is connected to something, and I think that's enough. We're going to give this a try. So let's just sort of clear out the flux from this connector. So we're going to clear it out like pretty gently, just get the goop of the flux out of it. And we're going to see whether or not we can get the amazing photos from Bonaire. And we're going to do it sort of the least sending money to Apple way. So we are not going to do an iCloud backup. Fix, let's go celebrate. Yeah, let's just say it's done. We'll just say it works. All right, now I didn't bother to hook up a different camera here, so I don't have a ham camera, so I'll just have to hold it up. So very carefully, because this thing has a wrap around the board jumper, I'm gonna have to like put a little piece of tape on the back. And this is all just kind of temporary, just so that we can get these amazing pictures, and mostly so that I can plan a vacation to Bonaire. It just seems like it would be fantastic. I went to Australia and I went diving in the Great Barrier Reef, which was really fun. So I'm a big fan of the dive trip. I did have like what I think is kind of like the closest to death that I got, like probably ever. And this, I think, gave me like some, like not PTSD, but I feel like I have a form of like claustrophobia. Like I definitely have claustrophobia. And I never had that before. And I think that this comes from going diving on one of these trips to Dominican Republic with some like, hey, Mom, you know, oh, it's fine, you're certified. You haven't been diving in 5 years, but you know, how hard can it be? And I went on a dive and there was a little grain of sand or something that got stuck in my regulator, and I like freaked out. I totally freaked out. And I did the thing that you're never supposed to do, which is, ooh, that's not quite the right battery. I'm gonna have to dig out this battery. I did the thing you're not supposed to do, and I was just like, I can't breathe. And I'm like, I'm going to die. So I did the unthinkable and just swam for the surface, ignoring all the pressure, because I like really thought that was it. Like it was lights out, this was over, oh my God. And then as soon as you know, you're like 10 seconds away from the top and you're like, oh, this is it, I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna just, you know, you can't not breathe in the water. So I'm taking the battery out of their OG housing here. All right, I'm ripping this battery out. Because this battery is the one that I wanna use. My other battery's too big. Burst through to the surface, take a big, deep breath, and it's like suddenly everything's fine. Ever since then, I've had like this, you know, pretty irritating claustrophobia that, you know, kind of doesn't make any sense until I looked up, you know, in the middle of the night, like hanging out with my friend ChatGPT, and I looked up, what does waterboarding mean? Like a torture thing. So what is waterboarding? And then I looked it up and it was like, pretty much the thing that had happened to me is like what they intentionally induced, like with waterboarding. And it said, you know, like that it absolutely can cause long-term, you know, things like fear of confinement and stuff. Like that's what happened to me. I got waterboarded in the Dominican Republic, which is pretty scary. All right, so we're plugging in our proximity sensor into our majorly beat up jumpers coming out all left and right, flex. And now we're gonna go down here and we're gonna plug in the battery, maybe. All right, we got the battery plugged in. We have the screen plugged in. We have the power button plugged in. And we are going to boot this up. Here's what I predict is going to happen. I predict it's going to stay on, it's going to click off after 3 minutes, and it's going to be some other error, like charge port or something else. All right, let's find out. Okay, so we are going to see if this will turn on. Does it turn on? All right, I see an Apple logo, so it's going to turn on. Was I diving under 10 meters? 10 meters is 30 feet. It was 40 feet, basically the same as this guy, 43 feet. It was around 40 feet. You know, 40. It wasn't more than 40 feet. I wouldn't have even made it if I did that. But it was right around that 40 feet mark. Okay, so boot it up, and all right, I am going to start a timer to see. Let's do timer. Let's just do a 4-minute timer. Start. All right, I started a timer, and we've got 28% charge on this battery, so I'm going to go ahead and go for it and get some of these pictures. So she's really wanting the pictures Look at this, guys. Now, she said I could do a YouTube video. This is amazing, guys. Oh my God. This is amazing. I want to go here so bad. Look at these incredible scuba pictures. Oh my gosh. Look at this. This is like, can you believe that you can take your iPhone and you can scuba? Stop that. Don't tell me that. This is just fantastic. I want to go there. I want to know. Genesis, you got to tell me all the travel details. I want to go where you went. This is incredible. You got to check this out, Christy. You want to go to Bonaire? Huh?
I came to see the pictures.
All right, come check this out. Christy, this is incredible. Look. She's scuba diving with this phone. Like scuba, like legit, like scuba, like actually scuba diving. Genesis, your data is so cool. Normally, we wouldn't look at anybody's data, but when you show me a picture of you scuba diving, I'm gonna have to make sure that we get this off. Like, it's just incredible. All right, so here's the other trick. Here's the trick. I'm gonna plug in a dongle. Where can I get this from? Oh yeah, here we go. Plug in a dongle. I'm gonna take the pictures off. Screw you, stolen device protection. Ha ha ha. All right, so we're gonna plug this into a drive. So we got a drive connected. And we're gonna take these pictures. Stop with that. Stop. Okay, oh my God, this might be the most breathtaking. So I'm gonna say copy. Here we go. Stop with that. Stop. All right, select all. Oh my gosh. So I'm having to select all manually by hand so that I can pull these over to a drive, because this phone we can't just connect to a computer because of stolen device protection, which is going to want to have Face ID. So we're gonna hit share to the drive. All right, come on. Copy. And save to files. Preparing. Has it been 3 minutes yet? I'm kind of excited. It's not restarted yet, so I don't even want to look at it, or it's gonna make it. It's not gonna work. All right, save to files. It sees the drive. Hit save. Saving to the drive. This is awesome. Woo! All right, let's see. The operation couldn't be completed. No space left on device. No space left on the device. That better not be this thing. It's been on for a long time. Let's check our timer though. Where does my timer? Did I not hit start? How long has it been, chat? Has it been, this is still on, this has yet to restart. I'm like kind of getting a little bit excited about this. I'm gonna try a different drive in case I'm gonna have to do these in a couple of batches. Oh, if this is fixed, this is pretty freaking magical, I'm gonna tell you that. This phone has been on a scuba dive. Oh, it freaked me out. It's still on, but the screen like went dim. All right, I'm putting in another. 43 feet deep on a scuba dive, taking scuba video of amazing coral and sea anemones and all kinds of the coolest stuff I've ever seen with an iPhone 14 Pro. 43 feet underwater. Genesis is, unlike me, not wigging out, and she's just like doing her stuff, enjoying her dive. This is incredible, man. So look, you know these things are waterproof enough that even if the worst happens, you can still get the data. All right, save to files. Let's see. Save to Samsung USB. Let's do new folder called Bonaire. Seems like it's been on a long time. Saving to folder. Oh, it's working! Woo!
All of the pictures are moving over to the drive. Hooray! Yay! This is super awesome. All right, I just want to like definitely know for sure. Oh, here's the timer. 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. A couple, 2-3 minutes. It keeps like when the screen goes dark, I'm like, it's over. I think this has worked, guys. I think this has worked. And you know what I'm going to do after this stream? I'm going to erase that round the board jumper that goes to the debug and see if that's actually necessary for it to stay on. Good dongle. Yes, man. This is like Brad's secret tip. He's going to be, he's like, you know, he's a guy that figures stuff out on the side. All right. Congratulations. Thank you. This is almost certainly, I just can't prove it because I didn't start that timer. Certainly more than 3 minutes have gone by. And all of these photos are copying over to the drive, even though this device has stolen device protection on it. So stolen device protection is totally, it's just so ridiculous. It's the dumbest setting for whatever. All right. And 1 minute and 7 seconds left for us to discuss what am I going to feed this kid when he shows up on Saturday. I don't know. I just want to see it get to the end of my timer before I will feel complete. This is like, I was thinking about just taking them off in these 3-minute sections, but a lot of them are videos, and there are a ton, and they're amazing. I really want her to get these back, and it's like taking them off. I was like sitting there watching Netflix last night and just like selecting one row, take to the drive, one row, and then would reboot, couldn't stay on, and I'm like, you know what? I think it's actually easier to fix this scuba diving fireboard proximity sensor 1,000 jumpers than it is to sit there and keep letting this thing, you know. KFC potato wedges. They're back. French love croissants. I don't know if they love Rochester croissants. What about a garbage plate? Garbage plate is the Rochester tradition. Sounds pretty gross. I don't really know. Okay, let's see. I hear it! Oh my God, my alarm has gone off my 4-minute timer. Yay! No reboots. This thing is cured. Yay! It needs so much. It is able to hear from the back wireless charging coil, the power button, the proximity flex from the proximity sensor, yay! The charge port, the battery, which is the wet battery from the Scuba phone, and all of that comes together. We're gonna be able to get every single one of these amazing photos back off of this phone despite 43 feet scuba. So that is pretty awesome. I'm aware of the Rochester garbage plate. Yeah, me too. I don't think I've ever had one. All right, so I'm gonna leave you guys with let's see. This like, look, this just is incredible. This is so, I'm so jealous of this trip. I'm gonna make sure I got them. Yeah, look at this. Beautiful Bonaire. All right, Scuba phone lives. And that is it for me. I will see you guys next time. Oh, it has video. How do I turn off the stream? So cool, man. Look at this video. I hope it doesn't have anything bad. Christy, check this out. Look at this. This is amazing. She's like better at video. I need to hire her to edit video. Super cool. She took this on her phone. All right, where's the end stream?